Like the calculation of this stuff.
Yeah,
How
like
could
who did
people,
that?
yeah, who did that? How could people calculate all those things back in the day using whatever technique they were using and to build that a temple, to build that pyramid, you know? Why can't we do it now? So it was pretty interesting that you told me how you like Egypt. You know, I feel like Egypt is one of those places that everybody, like every single person, have it on their bucket list. You know, like I seriously want to go to Egypt so bad as soon as possible.
Like literally as soon as possible. Like I think everyone's, as you said, like everyone has it on their bucket list. Everyone loves it. Like as soon as you mention Egypt, everyone like has a vision of those pyramids, the whole deserts, and the whole package. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So beside like the whole history and stuff, I feel like Egypt is one of those places like that is being super rich in mystery as well. You know, there are lots of things going around like being talked about Egypt and their temples. As you know, of course, pretty much most of our listeners would know that Egypt has one of the most impressive structures in the whole world
Ever,
ever.
ever. I mean, like being one of the world's first civilizations I mean, it have to have its own perks. Like they 100% have like a lot of mysteries that has not even reached the surface yet. Like a lot of stuff may have not even been discovered yet. Like, do you know ancient Egyptians forged one of the earliest piece 3Ds to ever exist?
I bet. I mean, probably,
It was,
probably. I wouldn't doubt it. You know, I would
yeah.
not doubt that. Yeah. So, Amir, you know, when we were younger, when we were in high school and middle school, they always told us that Egyptian temples in Egypt, they were mostly being used for, like, they were acting as some sort of, just a place of worship, right? That's what we learned. That's what they taught us. So, but I feel like there were much more into it. You know, there were a lot more happening in Egyptian temples. Don't you think that?
Yeah, like how the hell did they created those pyramids back in the day? Like they say they used like I don't know a lot of workforce. Like people had to carry these big stones up the pyramids and stuff. But I don't know.
But here's the thing.
Something might have happened there.
Probably, but here's the thing. So, back in the day when they were building the temple, those large, like, blocks of stones, they were often weigh like several tons, you know? They were not like maybe like 200 kilos, 300 kilos that, okay, like two, three people can like push it up easily. You know, they were tons and tons each. And they were cut from quarries located near like the temples and being like they transported like those blocks of stones to the construction site using like sledges, rollers, and ropes, as you said.
Yeah.
But still, like when you think about it, like moving that maybe like 2 tons of stone is not easy. And do you know there are like temples were not just they weren't built by like 100 stones, 200 stones. They're like
Sounds.
thousands
Yeah.
of them right next to each other.
And you know what's like more impressive? The thing that other than carrying it around, the precise cutting and measurement of those stones, like 4,000, 5,000 years ago, I don't know, 3,000, 4,000 years ago, like how did they manage to cut this? And like
Exactly.
being this precise. Because
That's
like
just
as you
crazy.
said, it's
That's
not like one stone, two stone, or three stone. It's like thousands.
they're like literally thousand stones right next to each other, and they were like super carefully fit together. You know, they're super tight. They're super like calculated. Like the calculation of this stuff.
Yeah,
How
like
could
who did
people?
that?
Yeah, who did that? How could people calculate all those things back in the day using whatever technique they were using and to build that a temple, to build that pyramid, you know? Why can't we do it now?
I
I
guess
mean,
you'll never know.
we sure can, but there are times in my life that I literally sit down and think about how people like built that temples and pyramids and even the Sphinx back in that day.
Yeah.
They should have had some sort of like specific plan, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't just like okay, like they slept and woke up one day and be like, okay, we're gonna build a pyramid.
So this is what they have written about it. They have written it took 100,000 men and 20 years to build the Great Pyramid at Giza. I
Tell
don't
me,
believe that.
tell me one more time. 100,000 man,
100,000
hundred.
men
Okay,
over 20 years to
over
build the
20
pyramid.
years. Okay,
Yeah.
and you know
Well,
what's funny about it? There are like hundreds of people working back in some countries trying to build like a 10 stories apartment, and it still would take them 4 years.
yeah.
Like a normal apartment, you know. It's and they built it over 20 years and 1,000 mans. It's and who came up with that number? Who came up with a thousand per?
Yeah, like who counted them?
Yeah, who counted them? You
Let
know,
me tell you
that's
something crazy. You know, with the technologies that we have today, how long do you think it would take to create the pyramids? Give me just a rough guess.
uh, maybe 1,000 mans and
No,
the
just a
technology that
time.
we
Just
have.
a time.
Just a time.
Yeah. How long it will it take?
Like I don't know, probably the same. Hopefully not more.
No, so like they are saying it would take 5 years and it would cost around $5 billion to create the pyramids. Imagine them doing this
That's just absurd.
5,000 years, 4,000 years ago.
That's just absurd. You know
It's really
that
crazy, man.
that's just super crazy.
And how about the symbols inside? The symbols, the writings, the mysteries.
The mysteries for sure. You know. So you know, there are lots of places in the pyramids that normal people can go and visit. You know,
Yeah.
but there should be some other places in the pyramids that you cannot go. You know, I feel like they were much more complex than we see it now, and they're a lot more into it. You know, what do you think they were using those pyramids and temples for?
I really don't know because like they're huge.
They're super huge. You
They're
know, like
huge with a lot of like rooms and stuff. a lot of secret passages, a lot of stuff. I don't know. Like, what can they? What were they using it for?
What are they hiding inside? You know. But here's the thing. So
Yeah,
whenever
even nowadays, like I believe tourists can't visit everything in there.
that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like tourists cannot visit every single part of the pyramids. You know, I've
Let
never,
me say
guys,
that.
like, correct me if I'm wrong. I never ever been to Egypt, but um, I have the thought of that people cannot visit like every single part of the pyramids, and they're still researching on it. They're still like doing some studying on it. I'm not sure, but I feel like people cannot visit like every single part of it. Anyways, so this is what I have in mind whenever I think about like visiting Egypt and the pyramids. I just don't want to go to one room. I don't want to see the exterior. I want to like go inside, like literally wonder like every single part of the pyramid. I do not care what would happen next, you know? I would love to have like a group of people with me with the same goal to achieve, you know, with the same exact goal to get inside the pyramid and see what's actually inside. And what would happen if we step on a wrong stone, you know? Because there are lots of stories that, okay, like if you step on a wrong stone, if you like uh I don't know, put your hand on a wall or something, something might have happened, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah, like to follow up on what you said, something crazy. So people are asking if all the rooms in the pyramids have been discovered or not. So it seems like they haven't yet discovered that thing fully. Like as you said, there may be some plates or a brick or something that you press and like you go into
Yeah,
a
there
whole
should
new area.
honestly there should be some sort of break, like if you I don't know, push it like in, like a
But
whole
like,
another room would open up.
let me tell you something. Tourists are allowed to enter all three of the Great Pyramids for a fee.
Okay. For a fee, okay.
Yeah. So basically, they can visit the interiors. So like they can go in there. They were allowed to go on top from the outside too, like on the levels and stuff. But like now it's banned. But it's like
Okay.
I don't know. There
So
probably
how
should be.
many, so when you say inside, how many rooms and like lobbies or whatever, like hallways, can you visit actually? Is it
So
just one or
yeah, that's what I'm reading right now. The Great Pyramid of Giza has over 3 rooms. These rooms include a grand gallery, the king's chamber, and the queen's chamber. But like
or
that is that only
that doesn't
three.
make any sense. That does not make any sense.
Oh, there are 3 known chambers inside the Great Pyramid.
Okay, so that's exactly, that goes back to my point that there should be a lot more rooms that are unknown. You
The
know, that there should
lowest
be.
Yeah, the lowest was cut into the bedrock, upon which the pyramid was built, but remained unfinished. The so-called
Okay.
Queen's Chamber and King's Chamber that contains a granite sarcophagus are above ground within the pyramid's structure. So, yeah,
Interesting.
I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. But like, have you seen the signs? They even got some signs about board games. Did you know that?
That
Like
no,
there
I
is,
had no idea. I had no clue, to be honest.
and like they have found out that ancient Egyptians loved board games. Like they
Okay.
got like signs of something like chess
Okay.
and like two people sitting across each other playing.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and like they also had this uh this 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 mummy
Okay.
who was wrapped with a mystery book instead of their normal stuff.
So let me pick up from the mummies. I'm really happy that you mentioned mummies. I wasn't like really thinking of mummies a lot. So did you know that when they wrap those people up, when they like actually like making the mummy, the mummies can smell good literally forever.
Yeah,
And you know, like the dead person like stinks really bad, but the mummies smell really good. So people and like researchers still do not know what they've used back then to make the mummies smell good. Isn't that crazy?
yeah. Like the whole thing, the whole background about them, you can find a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense. Like this one, the mummy that I talked about, like, one of the most abstract artifacts found in Egypt. Like a guy named Mihailo Barik, he bought a mummy from a shopkeeper in Alexandria.
That's funny. Okay. How did
He
he came across that?
Yeah, listen. So he put it on display as a decoration, but after a couple of years, he realized how strange the artifact was. So the mummy was wrapped in a lined book with strange writings. The
Okay.
scientists were not able to carefully peel off the bandages, and like we're only able to find out that the writings are not Egyptian, but it was actually written in Etruscan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right or not. So that's the ancient language of the ancient civilization known as Italy today.
Okay.
So
That's
basically, the mummy from Egypt was wrapped in writings from ancient Italy. And like a lot of these stuff you can find that there is no answer for it. Like
how
what
did the
was
mummy end up in Italy?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's just crazy, and some of the things about Egypt is just unbelievable and supernatural to me.
They say like from the top 10 hundred from the top 10 haunted places in Egypt, half of them are considered to be around the pyramids. So one of them, they think the pyramids of Giza are haunted. They think the Valley of Kings is haunted. They think the Farafra desert is haunted. And like it's the other the others are not that big, but like the fact that they think these kind of places are haunted, someone must have seen something.
Probably. So, don't you want to visit it still, even though it's
Yeah,
haunted?
I I
Don't you want to actually like go inside and wander around and see if you can find anything new?
you know me. I'm in love with this kind of supernatural stuff. You know, I could stay there for days just looking at the symbols. And like
Exactly. Yeah.
how someone like You know they have meanings for each and every one of their symbols, right?
Of course.
And the fact that still they have not figured out everything in there after 4,000 years.
That's you know, people can't figure it out. Researchers can do it, so someone should. You
Yeah,
know, they're like what people are believing nowadays. They're like, oh my god, we have a lot more technology. Like, we're a lot more smarter than people back in the day. Like, back how people were smart in Egypt. So, if you are smarter, if you have the technology, why can't you figure the thing out?
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And the conspiracy comes to my mind that, okay, people back in the day had an access to advanced technologies that are now lost to history. You know, they knew something. They've had something that we do not have now.
Yeah, and
People don't think of that. You know, it's
they also have the symbols and paintings of flying objects, like crazy technology that nowadays, even like some of them are only created
and that goes back to the other conspiracy that saying like, okay, pyramids were built by
by
aliens.
aliens. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, every person around the world have at least heard this story once.
exactly. So I mean, it's not uh, that unbelievable because like the whole technology and the precision required to construct the pyramid like needed some sort of like pretty like advanced technology. You know, that precision needed some sort of advanced technology or some sort of superpowers or something. It was either of two things. It was either built by aliens or people had some sort of other technologies and knowledge that we do not have now, or
And
someone like
disappeared with them.
covered, yeah, someone just like covered it up, or probably those in power back in the day, or even like people in power nowadays. We would never know. That's the thing. We
Yeah.
would never know.
And like the fact that they are saying nowadays that the Egyptian pyramids and Sphinx will be no more in 100 years due to climate change. How the hell did they survive this long just to be destroyed?
In like 100 years from now,
Yeah.
that's another weird part of it. Also, so there's a like there are some people thinking, there are some people believing that the Sphinx was a lot bigger than what it is now. So if you look at like the whole what's it called, like not the measurement, uh I oh my god, now I cannot say where I forgot it. But anyway, so the head of the Sphinx is a lot smaller than the body of the Sphinx.
Yeah.
Look at the picture. Look at the picture for a second. Does it look right to you? Why is the body that big
Yeah.
and the head that small?
Yeah. So you're saying that something's wrong here.
There
Something's
should be something, exactly, like there should be something wrong because there is no way that some sort of animal or some sort of like a creature, I have no idea, like having that small of a head and that big of a body,
yeah.
you know.
And why would they even create this? Putting
That
the
was
head of yeah.
so this is what I'm thinking. Probably that was something that they were worshiping back in the day. or
Oh,
it was like a some sort of a symbol for them. You know,
or like
it
it's
was.
considered a mythological creature.
Oh, I see.
So we still don't know who built it. And it was used to be colorful. You know that?
Oh yeah, that's what I heard. I've heard that. Yeah.
And like
Okay.
imagine how they looked back in the day. Like this thing that looks this beautiful today after 4,000 years. Imagine how it looked when it just got built.
That's unbelievable.
Like the whole culture of Egypt, it's just beautiful, man, with a lot of mysteries. I mean, it must be fun to be Egyptian.
It it must be. Here's the thing. I guess so I'm thinking about someone. I'm not sure if he was living in Egypt. Guys, I'm sorry. Like my history sucks. Uh, but Joseph was living in Egypt, right? Back in the day
Yeah,
when they
yeah,
had
yeah, yeah,
pyramids and stuff.
yeah.
So Joseph was in those pyramids.
Oh,
I mean, you've seen the pyramids, I guess. If you ask me. So I do not know the timeline exactly when Joseph was born and when they finished constructing the pyramids and the Sphinx, but yeah.
so he was taken to Egypt and
Okay.
eventually became steward to Potiphar, one of Pharaoh's officials.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, we don't know the exact details. We're not good with the history. But, like, it seems like he lived between. What are these numbers? So it's I-800 and 1700 BC. What's that?
BC.
No, no, it's I-800 and 1700 BC.
That's
These
uh,
Hyksos were. Oh, I think we're just trying to read some stuff that we have no clue about.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like I my literally my history sucks.
Yeah, but
I could
but
never ever. Yeah.
let me see if he was around when the pyramids. He sure was around when the pyramids were built, right?
Probably, I think so. That I seriously think so.
Yeah, he was around when it was built.
That's
Oh,
that's interesting.
or was he? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We could just move on from this topic.
Yeah, we should move on from it. So there's another thing that I learned about tombs the other day in Egypt. So whenever someone important died back in the day,
Yeah.
okay, they literally took him or her into their tomb. They
Yep.
buried them in a mummy or whatever with some foods that they like chicken, beef, whatever, and some gold and some like valuable stuff. And they put it like around the dead body and then start like closing the doors with like other stones and other pieces of stones, and like till like they had a closed kind of tomb,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So they closed everything up, and then on the top of the tomb, it was designed in a way that, okay, if it was raining back in the day, the rain would literally take some other stones with itself, and it would dump it on the top of the tomb, so the tomb would go underground and no one can ever, like, no one would like find the tomb anymore for a long amount of time.
Oh, and now
do,
that
do,
you mentioned
do you
this,
know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know, the masters took their servant with them. So when some high ranked person died, their servants would accompany him or her in the tomb. So basically, if they die, their servant's going to get
Oh my
killed,
god.
and they're going to be in the tomb with them.
So, uh, so they took the servants with them to do the hieroglyphs, or they were just there just cause to carry things around.
Uh, Everything. They did everything. Like,
They did everything. Okay.
yeah, they did everything. And they thought it was so cruel because, like, when the master died, they would basically kill the servants just
Like
to,
10 other servants with
yeah,
him.
yeah, just
That's
to put them in the tomb
that's
because they thought the pharaohs or the masters still required servants in the afterlife. And
that's
people who disrespected the sun god were burnt alive.
interesting.
So it was considered one of the worst crimes that an individual could commit. It was to disrespect or offend the sun god.
I
For
see.
example, like if someone robbed or vandalized the temple or like disrespected the god, they were found guilty and they would be burnt alive in or out of the public. It depended.
Interesting.
And what they thought was burning an individual alive meant that the vessel, their spirit, was contained within and it was completely destroyed. And it meant that that individual would no longer be able to progress into afterlife. And the soul and the body would burn together.
Interesting.
And another a weird law that they had was, have you heard like innocent until proven guilty?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've
They were
heard.
the,
Yeah.
they were the opposite. Guilty until proven innocent.
Jesus Christ. That's that's just crazy, you know? Like they had laws and rules back in the day, which is not okay nowadays. Like if you tell that to people in today's war, they would go out of their mind. They would literally go crazy.
Yeah.
So, but when you said that masters took their servants to the tomb, that if anything happens, they have their like servants in the other life with them. That kind of does make sense to me because, as I mentioned earlier in this podcast, so most of the time, whenever someone died back in like ancient Egypt, they put some food in the tomb as well as like golds and money or coins or whatever they were using back in the day, because they were in the belief that, okay, that person isn't dead. They're dead, like, for sure in this world, but they probably gonna need food in the other world, and they probably gonna need golden, like, money and coins in their other life. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah,
They
yeah.
probably gonna need their servants as well. So now I'm thinking maybe they killed some servants for them. You know, I
And
don't know, man.
I mean, at the time, it must have made sense. Like the whole thing of burning alive. Like, okay, when you listen to it, they say like your soul is going to be burnt with your body, so you won't progress to afterlife. I mean, maybe at the time it made sense,
Probably, probably.
but like, yeah, the whole ancient Egypt is still a mystery to this day.
Look, here's the thing about Egypt, Amir. Like, even if you talk about Egypt for days,
There's
hours and
still, yeah,
hours,
there's still,
there would be some sort of mystery left to be talked about.
yeah.
Like, from the technology that they use, from the precision that they had, from the whole knowledge that they had, and the Sphinx, why the head is a lot smaller than the body, and why they were like covering up some tombs, and why they were like burying down like this and that. It's just it. I think it would always stay a mystery, at least for now. You know?
Yeah. And you know,
And
like their pyramids are not just the whole like three, four, five popular ones. You know, it's like above 100 pyramids,
oh,
right?
there are lots of exactly. There are lots of pyramids out there.
And it's
With
man, I think it's beautiful. I think if someday we have the privilege to visit that beautiful country,
Yeah, for sure I would. 100%.
yeah.
100%. So, we talked about Egypt. I feel like, it's pretty interesting for me to talk about like these mysterious kind of like historical places and pyramids and stuff. I feel like we should talk about like really unnatural. We cannot say unnatural, but like these mysterious kind of historical places in China, because when I visited
Oh
China,
yeah, they must
yeah,
have love too.
they've had a lots of stuff.
Yeah, they have that. They have the same crazy culture.
Yeah, they do have that same crazy culture. They do have that stories and conspiracies about like the historical places that they have, like the tombs and like the whole temples and stuff. They There are lots of places on the world, like in the world, that people in countries have that some sort of like crazy stories and places. I feel
Yeah,
like we should uh, like record another episode about China,
China.
or
Yeah,
maybe
100%.
ancient Asia, and we can even talk about ancient Persia for another episode, because there are lots of things that we know about it, and we can be a lot more knowledgeable
Yeah,
about what happened back in the
yeah.
day.
All of
And
these ancient civilizations, they 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 all have a lot to cover.
they do have a lot to cover, exactly. I'm thinking about bringing a Chinese friend of mine so we can talk about like
Yeah,
their
the
crazy
ancient
stories.
China. Yeah,
We should do that for our next episode. I think it would be nice to have her on this podcast. She would bring lots of values to this podcast and to our listeners.
yeah, 100%, 100%.
100%.
We should do that.
All right. So, what would you say? What do you say?
I
Maybe,
guess.
maybe. talking about China next time, or talking about Persia next time, or we
We could
can
have
maybe
China.
give yeah we can have China, yeah, for sure.
And
Guys, I'm gonna post a poll for this podcast for this episode, so you guys can vote if you guys like to hear about ancient China and ancient Asia and their crazy stories about their like historical places and cultural stories that are going around with Chinese people, which we do not have any idea about. So
yeah.
just let us know.
So I'm looking up the ancient civilizations, and ancient Egypt is on number 9. So there are
Okay,
eight
what's the
eight
number one?
more. Yeah, there are 8 more ancient than Egypt. So on number one we got San people.
Okay.
Location: Southern Africa, in countries such as Botswana, Namibia, Angola, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and South Africa. And they are still around. They are up to 140,000 years ago till present day.
Interesting.
That's crazy.
That that's super crazy.
Wow. Wow, the third ancient civilization is actually related to Turkey.
Okay. Like they do. Oh my god. So you know how you know that I was living in Turkey and I visited lots of places and they were crazy, but I still I still do believe that Egypt is a lot more crazier than Turkey when you think about the pyramids and the whole
Yeah,
uh
like
art.
they left a lot of structures and
Yeah,
artifacts.
they did for sure.
I mean, there is a lot of more older cultures, but what Egypt has left for the world, a
It's
lot of stuff.
unbelievable, unbelievable.
Okay,
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm really happy to have you guys on this podcast. And please, again, let us know if you have any like recommendation that what you guys need us to talk about or to mention in our podcast. Uh, please do not hesitate to do that.
yep. See you guys next time.
See you guys next time.
Goodbye.